So, the other day, I had a consult with a new client. He's about a 75-year-old guy, right? And in the interview, when I talked to him, and those 5 questions that you heard me ask the other client, right? The question is, do you believe you can get better? Do you deserve to get better? And one of the questions he didn't answer very well. And that question was, I asked the question essentially, do you, based on what I've told you so far, within the conversation, why do you think my services are a good fit for you? And he wasn't really able to answer the question in the way that is framed, because it's like, based on what I told you, tell me why that would help you. And his answer, he instead shortcutted out and was like, well, I'm coming to see you because my daughter told me to, right? Gathered from kind of tidbits in the conversation, a couple warning flags came up. And it seemed like he didn't really understand what I was telling him. So then fast forward into the session, and I kind of knew that some of the stuff wasn't going very well. He wasn't understanding why we were doing what we're doing. He had had multiple surgeries in his abdomen. He had pain in his hip, and I looked at his form and the way he was walking and the pain he had, and I concluded he's got a core problem. And the core problem stemmed all the way back from when he was 5 years old. And he told me this story. He was able to recount this story. He stood up at the dinner table. This is in like the 1950s. And he had told his mom, I'm going to have a baby. He's 5 years old. Oh, because I have a big ball here. He had an inguinal hernia that was like bulging out. So he gets his surgery when he's 5 years old to fix his inguinal hernia, compromises his whole core. Fast forward, he had a gallbladder surgery in his core, and then he had another inguinal hernia surgery just a few months ago because the doctors thought that was causing his hip pain. But the real thing that I believe is what's causing all of his pain is he has compression, lumbar 4, pushing on a nerve that goes down the front of his leg. The nerve root for 4 goes down front or back of the leg, and he had pain on the front and back. And his pain worsened with certain movements that articulate L4. But when I tried to treat his core, he almost got angry. He was like, why are you touching me there? My pain is here. And when I explained it to him, he didn't get it. And usually when I explain it to people, people get it. So 2 conclusions I had from that. One, he had 2 problems going on when he went in to get surgery. He had the hernia, which was there, but underlying that, the real cause of his pain was nerve pain. So I told him that much. He sort of understood that. But the real root cause of the problem was the compromised core. And he was incapable, really, of understanding my reasoning there, which is really rare. Now, this guy was a really bright guy at one point. He's 75, but he wasn't really able to recall much of his history. So this is kind of a sad story in the end. His mental game was too far gone. His mental was like, he wasn't able to recall things. He wasn't able to understand things. And when people have dementia and Alzheimer's, when they run into that, they usually default to having some sort of emotional response. They get angry or they get upset. And it was very unusual for someone to get upset when I'm working. Like, I tried to treat his psoas near the nerve root, and he freaked out and couldn't be done. So I didn't offer him a treatment plan because I didn't want to deal with the inevitable, like I would have dreaded working with him, and he clearly wasn't on board. So that's an example of when a client is not a good fit. And usually, earlier you were asking me questions about why, why do I ask clients those 5 questions? Usually when they're not a good fit, there'll be something I can reflect on in the questions that matches up, was a warning flag, and I should have been like, yeah, let's not work together. I usually at least want to give them the full reasoning why we shouldn't work together in person as opposed to ditching them on the phone.